All right, here we are again with the undisputed hydro weight champion, Harley Smith. I'm the organic mechanic, and just like to say happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday times. I hope you and your family had a great time. And I just got to come right off the bat here and say some things I'm very thankful for. I'm so thankful for our customers. I am so greatly thankful that they're so loyal to us. And, when they need advice, they ask us. We try to help them. And we do all we can, us and the Kelp4Less crew, to get their orders out quickly. And I'm just so thankful for the culture that they've extended to us and we've extended to them. Just our customers are great. Our crew is great. I can't say enough about our crew. And had one customer email me over this weekend. Haven't talked to him for quite a while. He's been going through some changes, but he's a giant pumpkin grower. And he brought up that you attended, you were the main speaker at one of their events. And he said, still to this day, everyone talks about that was the best presentation or the best speaker they've ever had at one of their pumpkin conventions. So kudos to you. And he sent a picture, almost a 2,200 pound pumpkin. 2,200 pounds. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's serious.
Oh, they are serious.
Of course, they're, as you know, they're fanatics just like we are, maybe even more so. So we appreciate each other. It's good.
Oh, absolutely. Any type of growing situation. I mean, it includes all of us. Takes, plants are plants and soil is soil and minerals are minerals. And so you can learn a lot. So I'm very thankful for our customers, very thankful for our hardworking crew. They get the orders out quickly. And I'm thankful I get to share this time with you. It's been really fun. And we'll be into the new year here pretty soon. So looking forward to the round 2 of these podcasts, the second year.
Yeah, I hope we get the viewers out there to send in some more questions and some more topics. Maybe give us a challenge or two here. Of course, we have a lot of stories, but there's always more to learn and there's always more to explore. And I love hearing back from the fans out there that are applying what they learn.
Yes.
I know we not on topic yet, but I heard I don't know if it's true or not, but one of my, I did a little consultation with a grower in Canada, and he said that neem oil isn't allowed in Canada. Have you ever heard anything about that before?
I'm not familiar with that. No, I'm not familiar with that at all.
Okay. Huh. I'm going to look into that a little bit more because it seems like that's been a go-to for organic gardeners for a long time. And it's biodegradable, but I wonder if there's something to it. I don't know. I'll look into it some more.
Yeah, I'll get you that answer. We have quite a few really good customers in Canada, a certified organic that will know all that info for us. So I'll get the word out too, see what I can find out.
Okay.
That's odd. Okay. All right. Well, to kick things off, I always wake up and read the agriculture news or, my news feeds and my news trends are all based around growing and agriculture and things. And when it came up this morning, news flash. I mean, this was at the top of the page. Microbes could help reduce the need for chemical fertilizers. That's it. That's in the news. And it's presented like this is new science and new technology and things like that. Yeah. So it kind of makes me chuckle because, I mean, we've been preaching that for years and years and years, as well as our growing community. Any serious grower understands that. I think it's becoming more mainstream now as everybody wants to use the term regenerative agriculture. Regenerative ag. It's the big word in agriculture right now. And, the practices are good and it's good in theory, but as far as a big corporate ag and our food supply, they just want to be able to use that term because they can't use the term organic. That's my opinion. regenerative practices used when growing such and such. So anyway, it's good in theory. There are farmers that are really doing that and have been doing that. My great grandparents were doing that. That's how you had to farm, regenerative agriculture. So it's nothing new. It's just a hot word right now. So a lot of my news feeds use that term. And anyway, that's the one that came up this morning is microbes can help reduce the dependency on chemical fertilizers. But
Yeah.
we've known that, and you've seen that with a lot of your experience with the biostimulants in your tests and studies.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the roots, kind of the history of some of the groundbreaking biostimulants, even the bloom stimulants that are being used in the Netherlands. They didn't originate in the Netherlands. Some of them originated in Germany because there's some, I don't know if we probably talked about this before, but there's some parts of Germany where they've used so much nitrate fertilizer that it's contaminated the groundwater, and it's caused blue baby syndrome, cancers, other diseases. So the German government brought some of the best scientists in Germany, brought them together to try to solve that problem because it's non-sustainable. You can't have polluted groundwater and expect to live long and prosper. So some of the scientists did some soil tests, and they found there was plenty of nutrition in the soil, but it was locked up. It was unavailable to the plants. So some of the very first biostimulants that were developed were to stimulate the metabolism of the microorganisms in the soil to unlock the nutrients so that they could reduce the nitrate nitrogen and reduce the fertilizer. And nature had the answers all along. So that's why we're laughing, because nature's been doing that without our help literally for millions of years. But now, we were able to harness some of the power of nature, work with nature, speed up the metabolism of microorganisms. They start dividing. As they divide, they're producing organic acids and enzymes, chelates that make nutrients more available to the plant. So I'm glad that the news flash is out there. The work with nature. Nature has the answers, but let's do it in an intelligent way. Let's use what we understand about nature and give nature a little push in the right direction, and then let nature take its course.
Boy, that's true. And then I know we've talked about this several times, and I hate to keep bringing the subject up, but you've been studying and working with kelp for a long, long time. And I know you really have some interesting stories and facts and things about the way kelp can do that. Kelp can stimulate soil, stimulate plants, and help release some of those nutrients in the soil.
Right. That's the last couple of mornings. You read your agricultural news. I go back, kind of go through my library, pick a book, read an article. Oh man, I have like 10 or 12 years of documents from the Hydroponic Society of America from the old days. Great, groundbreaking articles there. But anyway, I have one book by Dr. Sen that's all about seaweed extracts. He did his whole career on studying it. And every time I read, something pops out at me that, oh man, did I miss that before? And this is the one that just got me. Um, there's a sugar alcohol called mannitol. It's from the sugar mannitose. Most land plants make glucose and sucrose, other types of sugars, but kelp extracts and sea plants make mannitol, and mannitol is a chelator. It's a sugar chelator. Um, so one of the things they realized about it was that kelp has manganese in it, but they did studies and found out that the plant was taking up or accumulating more manganese in the tissue than what was in the fertilizer or what was in the kelp. So they realized that some of those chelators, those sugar chelators, were literally allowing improving the uptake of the minerals, of the manganese. And then, of course, the manganese activates enzymes used in photosynthesis. Manganese does enzymes that for stress resistance, superoxide dismutase, a lot of beneficial side effects. And because of that, because of activating enzymes, the plant is much more efficient with the use of nutrients, but somehow, because it's more efficient and needs more, nature has found a way for the microorganisms and for the sugars to improve the uptake so they can take up more of what they need.
That's interesting news, or I guess not news, but that's very good information that you don't hear people talk about too often. Uh, I don't know if I told you this, but we've been doing a lot of different tests and studies with our soluble kelp. And anyway, we've been analyzing it several different ways, different labs, just to kind of, see the purity or find things we didn't know. One thing we learned about our kelp that we have at Kelp4Less is it's 45% humic acids, and it's plant-derived humic acids. There's no mineral or rock humates in this. It comes from the processing method that they make our soluble kelp, and it actually shows up in a test as humic acids. So it's unbelievable. We didn't really know that either, and I don't know if anybody's really tested it from that aspect. I was shocked. That's phenomenal. So it's kind of a double whammy if you look at it. It's the best of both worlds almost. And just a quarter of a teaspoon of our soluble kelp in a quart of water. You can spray that daily if you want. You can root drench with that daily if you want, and it makes such a difference on your plants. So that's just another aspect of kelp that I don't know if you knew that or if you heard of that before.
No, I absolutely know that it's synergistic. Having humic acid and kelp together, it's the best combination. In fact, you have one right here. I'm just sitting here on the floor. 5 to 2, right?
Yeah.
5 parts humic acid and 2 parts kelp.
Right.
And but if you're only going to use one thing, then again, kelp is the thing. You should have every single gardener, whether it's hydroponics or soil, should have soluble kelp on the shelf, because it's something you can use in so many different ways. But one thing I'll bring up here that I'm kind of learning about kelp too, the IAA, the indolacetic acid, the auxin that's in kelp, well, there isn't a lot there. So I'm kind of surprised at how well it works as a root stimulant, right? Because IAA is unstable. You can't really put it in a bottle. It doesn't have shelf life. But here's the thing. Kelp is high in an amino acid called tryptophan. And microorganisms, there's some microorganisms that, like Bacillus amyloliquefaciens, that's one, literally can snip off the one ammonium molecule from tryptophan, changes it into IAA right on the surface of the roots. Also, plants take up tryptophan through the roots in the kelp, and they convert it in the leaves into IAA, and then pump it to the new growth, the bud development, and pump it to the roots for root development. And the one other part with that, I noticed that the kelp has quite a bit of zinc in it in your analysis that I've seen. And zinc is a cofactor for the production of IAA. So what's so cool is, there's a little bit there just kind of spark the process of root development. But after that initial one, it literally stimulates the plant to make more IAA. It stimulates the microbes to make more IAA. And that's more of an effect on lateral root growth and more root mass, which again aids with the uptake of nutrients. So it all is a circle of positive side effects.
Yeah, good point. And we need to let people know that kelp's not a silver bullet. It works best in conjunction with a balanced nutrient program. It makes everything else work better. So I just want to throw so people don't get confused. Kelp's not the only thing you need.
Yeah, you'd
It
be
just
surprised
it's a
though.
biostimulant and it makes everything you're doing more efficient.
Yeah,
What's
and using
that?
it as a foliar, obviously, are those the trace
Yeah.
elements. A lot of times are the limiting factors because they activate enzymes.
Hmm.
Enzymes can do literally some of them over 1,000 chemical reactions per second. And there's one molecule of an enzyme if it's turned on, if it's activated by a trace element. So yeah, I mean it's a very small amount. I mean they were talking about some of the biostimulants being used not just in parts per million, but in parts per billion, and still
Wow.
having an effect on the plant because of some of these beneficial trace elements from the sea.
Wow. Boy, that is crazy. Yeah, it almost gets no better. Yeah, if you were to use one addition in your program, kelp would be a great one to start with and a great one to stick with.
Yeah,
Those are all
yeah, it
very good.
has B vitamins in it too, which you know this inside and out. But B vitamins which activate that are part of the metabolism for microorganisms, the B vitamins, and also it has amino acids in there, such as tryptophan, but others that can aid with the uptake of calcium and other nutrients. So that one thing, that's a gift. That's a gift from the sea for farmers, and they've been literally using kelp for thousands of years, but we're just beginning to really understand how it works.
Yeah, it is growing in popularity and it's becoming more mainstream too, which is good because we want it to be included, in mainstream solutions or other products you purchase for your plants and things like that. So yeah, it's good to see. I think it adds a lot of potential moving forward as as this whole regenerative movement goes forward. Just little things you can do to help improve the soil. Reduce the needs of a lot of the synthetic fertilizers. Yep, kelp's a great place to start.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So it also does help feed the microbes. There's food for microbes there, you
Hmm.
know, which is always good and helps stimulate metabolism. There's one thing I learned about kelp that it does stimulate metabolism at different dosages, but they were showing that, like for seed germination, kind of the medium strength, mild to medium, was best for earlier germination of seeds and a better overall germination rate. But if they added too much, it overstimulated respiration and it actually reduced the germination rate. So yeah, we have to with everything, including organics. It's important to be take care of our dose because too much of a good thing isn't a good thing.
Right. Small amounts often. That's what we try to
Small
tell our
amounts.
customers. Small amounts often. That's
Yep.
the key.
And I, and I recommend that in general to growers. If there's anybody that hasn't tried hydroponics or hasn't tried using biostimulants, oh, if you're going to err on the side of too little. You know,
That's right.
give it a little less than what you think because you can always add a little more. You overdo it, and you can end up burning your plant. And then what do? You have to either stall out and wait for it to recover, or you have to start over. So little small changes, like you said, a little more often. You can always increase the dose, but it's really hard to take something out once it's built up in the plants to toxic levels.
That's right. That's right. I compare it to coffee. I love coffee. I'm a coffee drinker, but I can't drink a half gallon first thing in the morning. I got to space it out throughout the day. Plants are the
Right?
same thing. I mean, just too much at one time is hurtful, and just space it out nice and easy. The flow. That's the way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't want to overdo it. So it's kind of fun. Going back to Dr. Sen and his research, so some of the books that he wrote in the 80s, some of when kelp was originally used, kelp extracts, that goes back to the 40s and the 50s, and where then they started doing actual research on it. And it wasn't until the 60s where it started to become popular. in organic farming. And then when you got up into the 80s, they actually started to understand and prove the benefits and just say, oh, yeah, it's good. Well, how good? They start doing the trials, take the measurements, and prove it. And they did. They've proved it over and over again. Here's something weird, though. I might as well mention. There was one point where I did did a little bit of presentation on kelp, and I wrote up a little description of the hormones, the natural hormones in kelp. And one of the distributors back then was called Sunlight Supply. You've probably heard
Yeah.
of them.
Oh yeah.
They put what I wrote about kelp on their website. The EPA made them take kelp extracts off the shelf. And the reason is because I was explaining, oh yeah, it has auxins and cytokines, gibberellic acid, and those are natural, what they did for plant growth. They're all natural. Plants make them, microbes make them, all those things. But they said, oh, that means it's a growth regulator, like an artificial one would be.
Yeah.
So they said,
PGR is what they call it.
yeah, it's a PGR. You just made a claim that it's a PGR, and they made it,
Yeah.
and we had to pay lawyers and do a lot of work to say, no. These are in nature. Plants themselves make these things. Kelp makes them, microbes make, and but we had to take down that information. They weren't even allowed to publish information on their website about how it works and why it works. Now, go
Oh
figure
yeah.
that one out.
Oh, Harley, we run into that every day with state registrations. Different states require different wording, and it gets so complicated. It's to the point where you can't really put on the label what really is in the bag. What really is in the product. You have to follow their set of guidelines to conform to this little, box that they want it to look like and say. And anything else that you add about the product, even if it's 100% data supported, you can't
Mhm.
put it on a label. It's very frustrating.
I know that's frustrating and costly, especially since farmers have actually used kelp for thousands of years, dare I
Oh
say?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they know it's beneficial beyond the fertilizer value. And now that we start to understand what's going on at the molecular level, we can share it here. I mean, I can teach about it all day long. I mean, it's true. I'm just
yeah,
telling the truth. I'm just sharing what's been done through research since the 50s. Um, but I can't put it in writing because then I'm making claims.
yeah. Can't put it on the label. So hopefully people keep tuning into us to find out all this inside info and understand why it works, how it works, and why to continue growing with it. We use it in a lot of our products. I mean, it's just a simple additive to add to a lot of things. Uh, I know we add it to our brewers. We, you know, add it to a lot of our solubles. It's a good standalone product to add, to anyone's garden in their nutrient regimen, and very versatile. So, good point. Yeah, we could probably talk about that every week if we wanted to.
I know, and there's still more. There's just a little side thing when I did the research. I learned about mannitol, right?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
okay, I've known about mannitol. I know it's a sugar chelator, but are there any products on the market with with mannitol? There's actually a calcium mannitol product.
Really?
Yeah, it's derived from calcium acetate and mannitol. Put the two together, and I've never really heard too much about it, but it's something that kind of piqued my interest. I'm always looking for alternative forms of calcium other than calcium nitrate that are soluble.
Right.
Um, just not saying anything about it now. I'm saying it's got my curiosity. I might look a little bit more into different actual chelates of mannitol. Um,
Right.
maybe
Right.
skip a step.
Right. Right. Well, good. Hopefully, those products I talked about a couple episodes ago, that replacement for calcium nitrate, it's moving along very good. Um, it's a calcium carbonate that,
Hmm.
and it's soluble. It doesn't settle. It's a fantastic product. We're really close. We're really close. So I got another form of calcium for you coming up.
Can hardly wait. That's good news. Okay,
Okay, good.
I guess that's enough for today. We're spent a lot on kelp, but it's a great subject. We can come back to. Hey, after all, it's kelp for less.
That's
You know,
right.
it's in your name, so we
That's
should know
right.
something more than what the average grower knows.
That's right. That's right. And when we put up the website, there's a lot of talk of what we wanted to call it because our company's called Applied Organic Solutions, but we wanted a website that people could really find. And at the time, all the Google data was showing us kelp was the number one uh, keyword for people searching for organic fertilizer. Kelp was the number one. So we just fit it in the Kelp for Less and hit the ground running. So it's worked out so far. Uh, I appreciate all our customers. Just what a great customer base. Love to hear their feedback. Appreciate them watching. And just remember, with great flower comes great responsibility.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for another good talk. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Take care, Harley.
Bye.
Bye.